We're doing the most low-key video at the moment because I just don't feel like doing like the whole setup thing. We're using a lamp. I'm sitting on my couch. We're just hanging out. I have like an insane amount of books checked out from the library right now. And I just know that there's no way I'm gonna read all of these before they're all due back. So I thought instead of trying to cram them all in or continuing to put holds on them and then running out of holds and having to take them back anyway, I should do a little like try a chapter situation to see which ones like I would actually want to read immediately. And then if there's something that I'm not like, oh, I want to read that but I don't want to read it right now, or even if there's something like, oh, I don't think that is really going to be for me, then I can take all whatever back. It actually works out because here in just a little bit we're going to go over to our friend's house and hang out for the evening, and they live by the library. I'm just gonna run through them all really quickly and then I'll do the first chapter and then we'll come back at the end. We Used to Live Here is a horror book about a woman who lets this family into her house. The dad says that he used to live there and he wants to show his family around, and so she lets them in, and then I guess they like never leave. The Husbands by Holly Gramazio is about a woman who comes home to find a man in her house that claims he's her husband, and then over the course of a few days, every time he goes up to the attic, a new man comes down who is claiming to be her husband, and her life changes, and it's supposed to be kind of like a, I don't know, like finding the perfect life situation kind of story. I've heard great things. Martyr by Kaveh Akbar is about a man who is really interested in martyrdom, and he meets with an artist who is speaking to people in the last months of her life as she's dying from cancer, and I think that that has some kind of impact on him. Heard amazing things about this one. I don't really know much about Colored Television by Danzy Senna, but I have seen it recommended quite a bit lately. This is the wife of the author of Percival by James Everett, which I also have here in the stack somewhere. Here it is. So it should be interesting. I checked this one out and this one out at the same time because I know that they are married and I would be interested in reading both their books. I've never read anything by either one of them. Sky Full of Elephants by Sibo Campbell, I believe, is like a sort of dystopian post-apocalyptic kind of story. Heard really good things about it as well. All Fours by Miranda July is about a woman who tells her family she's going on like a trip for work, and instead of going on the trip, she checks herself into a hotel for a few days, and then when she comes back, she's different. And it's all about like her basically finding herself. I have no idea what Ordinary Human Failings by Megan Nolan is about. This was longlisted for the Women's Prize last year, and I requested that my library buy it, and they just bought it like a couple months ago, so I checked that out. Land of Milk and Honey by Z. Pam Zhang. This I think is also dystopian, post-apocalyptic. It has something to do with food. I'm not 100% sure, but it's really short and I've heard good things about it. A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross is an adult fantasy about these two people who are in love. I don't know, but I like Rebecca Ross, so I'm interested to try out something by her that's adult. I previously read Divine Rivals, and I thought it was okay. Like, I liked her writing, but I didn't like the fact that that was YA. This is adult, so I'm hoping that I'll like it better. Do Not Say We Have Nothing by Madeline Tien is, I think, like a generational story about women in China. This has been on my radar for a long time, so I'm interested to give it a try. It's pretty long though. Afterlife by Gail Foreman. This is a YA book. I'm not really sure how I'm gonna feel about it. I don't really read a lot of YA anymore, but it's about a girl who comes home one day and her mom freaks out because she's been dead for 7 years, and she has to kind of like readjust to her life and figure out what exactly is going on. And then Fire Exit by Morgan Talty is a book that I've seen recommended quite a bit lately. I don't know anything about it, but I put it on hold from the library, and then of course a bunch of books came in at the same time. So let's do quick reading the first few pages of each of these and see if I'm interested in any of them. here are my conclusions for each book. Afterlife by Gail Forman. I'm gonna take this one back. As much as I love Gail Forman's writing style, I'm just not a YA girl anymore, especially YA contemporary. So I'm gonna give this one back. I'm sure it's great, but I would hate to waste my time on something that I just don't think is gonna end up being more than like maybe a 3-star read. Very interested in Morgan Talty's Fire Exit. This is about a man who agreed to basically keep his identity secret from his daughter so that she could receive the benefits of growing up on a reservation, and he's ready to tell the truth. So I think it's gonna be really interesting. It's really short, so I'm gonna keep this one. Sky Full of Elephants is about a post-apocalyptic world where one day all of the white people just basically walk into the nearest body of water and drown. The beginning didn't give a lot, but it is very intriguing. So I think I'm gonna hang on to this one as well. It's also fairly short, so I think this will be a fairly quick read. Do Not Say We Have Nothing is going to be a very emotional read, I fear. It opens up with a young girl basically describing how she lost her father, then like kind of reflecting on that years later as well. And I think it's gonna be really good. It's long and it might be a bit of a commitment, but again, I think I'm gonna hang on to this one. I am curious to know if it would be a better reading experience if I read The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn first. I'd be interested to know what other people's experience with this is, because I haven't ever read that, and I feel like that would add quite a bit of context to this book. I would really hate to not give it like the full consideration, but it is so well loved right now. Like, it's on a lot of people's favorites lists, and the writing is really interesting. All Fours by Miranda July. Very interesting opening. I am really intrigued about this one. I was intrigued about this one before I even read the first chapter, so again, one I will be keeping. Another relatively short one. I just think it's gonna be an interesting character exploration. We Used to Live Here by Marcus Kluwer, the horror book that had the most intriguing opening. I am definitely gonna be hanging on to this one. I think it's gonna be a really quick read, so I might actually try to read it in the next couple of days, because I really think that once I get into this, I'm not going to want to put it down. Another one I think will be a pretty quick read is The Husbands by Holly Gramazio. Despite the fact that it looks like a bigger book, the writing is really snappy and quick paced, I guess. I am definitely going to hang on to this, and again, probably read this one in the next like week or so, because I was really interested in the beginning. I was invested immediately from like the very first like page. Martyr by Kaveh Akbar. I'm actually gonna return this one to the library, and that is because I got the audiobook of this a few days ago. Actually, I got the audiobook and then the same day got the notification that my hold was ready. I went ahead and like got it from the library, but I've seen a lot of people recommend the audiobook for this book in particular, so I think I'm going to return the physical book and just listen to the audiobook. Another short book that I'm gonna hang on to is Land of Milk and Honey by C. Pam Zhang. Another like post-apocalyptic kind of story. This one centers around food. The main character is a chef. A like fog has basically covered up the sun and doesn't really allow for people to grow produce and food anymore. I think I can read this in just a couple days, so I'm gonna hang on to it. Ordinary Human Failings seems like it's gonna be sort of like this literary mystery kind of book. Another relatively short one. This one is set in Ireland, and I really love Irish fiction, so I'm gonna hang on to it and I'm gonna try to read it soon. I might be making a mistake hanging on to so many of them, but I'm just interested in all of them. Color Television by Danzy Senna. Another one I'm gonna hang on to. This one is about a woman who is an author, and she is going through some things in her home life with her kids and with her like professional life, and I just think it's going to be a really interesting book. And lastly, A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. I'm going to return this one because I just don't know that I'm in the mood for this like lyrical romantasy fantasy stuff right now. I think this one might be a really good book to listen to on audio, because the writing style I think was going to lend itself really well to a kind of beautiful lyrical narration. I am still interested in reading it. It's still on my TBR. I just don't think I'm going to get to this book in particular before it's due back. So I'm going to go ahead and return it, let somebody else check it out and read it, and then maybe go for the audiobook or just check it out again down the line. So after all of that, I had 13 books checked out from the library, and I'm only returning 3. I was really hoping that this would like dissuade me from hanging on to a bunch of them, but because so many of them are short and because I was so interested in them, I just can't take them back just yet. Okay, that's gonna do it for this really low-key try a chapter, library haul, whatever this video is. I'd be really interested to know your thoughts and opinions on all the books that I am hanging on to. If there is anything in my stack that you think that I just really should skip, then let me know. I'd be curious to hear any and all opinions. But yeah, that's gonna do it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you again very soon. Bye.